help our clients break out of that box, but we've got to help them realize they're in a box. That the life that they're living, and some of you may be living this life yourself, the life that they are living may not be what they really want, and that there is a better life for them out there.
Our next speaker has a lot of energy. This friend of mine, his title of his presentation is Helping Clients Create Lives, Not Just Get Through Life. And so his bio reads, Justin Castelli is the founder of RLS Wealth, an RIA in Fishers, Indiana, and a co-founder of Advisors Growing as a Community, the AGC. More importantly, he is a husband and father to 3 boys. As a CFP practitioner, he focuses on helping clients identify their passion in life and helps them focus on their financial lives. Justin is also the creator of the All About Your Benjamins blog and podcast, and recently launched a new creative effort called, I think it's Pursuit, but PRST. Passion is the driver behind all of Justin's endeavors and experiments in life, and he is inspired to help more people find their passions and purpose in life. And what his bio didn't read, and I just did a quick Google search to pull these up, but Justin is also a Investment News 40 Under 40 advisor, I think 2020. Investopedia top 10 advisor multiple years. He sits right between Michael Kitzes and Joshua Brown. He's been on Bloomberg TV, Fox TV, just to name a few, and also spoken at Inside ETFs, been on the Next Gen FPA podcast, XYPN conference, WallStack, Global Indexing Conference, just to name a few, and featured in countless articles online. And I just want to mention his group, the AGC, another online group of advisors. I'm a member. It's a virtual community of advisors online. Really cool place to network with advisors, especially when we were going through the pandemic, but it still continues strong. A bunch of us will be at the Future Proof Conference. I'll let him talk a little more about that, but without further ado, Justin Castelli.
Well, now, there we go. They didn't tell me for the on button. All right. So, Jared, thank you for embarrassing me. I always leave all those accolades off because they're not kind of what I strive for, but it's also kind of nice to get that affirmation from your peers of you're doing things right. Jared asked me to talk, and I said, I'll take the after lunch spot because I want the challenge. And to make the challenge even harder, last night I drove over to Columbus, Indiana, about 2.5 hours to see Kendrick Lamar. Favorite artist, doesn't come to Indianapolis. So got home last night at 1:30, got up at 3:30, hopped the flight to come here and give this conversation. So I'm running on adrenaline, a little bit of coffee, and some inspiration from Kendrick Lamar to give this conversation today. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to give this conversation. This is something that I've been working on for a while, just internally. I never knew that it would become something to talk to a bunch of advisors about, but I think that we have one of the greatest professions in the world. You heard a lot of great things just before about the opportunity we have to help people, but I think that where our profession has been, it hasn't caught up to what our clients are wanting. So you'll see the tagline on this is passion-led living. Jared mentioned passion drives a lot of what drives me. So I want to try to find a way that we as advisors can help support our clients to find the passions in their life, bring that to their financial plan, and then help them plan for that life. So that's kind of where we're going. So rather than just going through life, let's create a life, and let's actually create the life that our clients want, rather than the one that they were told to have by society, by their parents, or whomever. And it's going to be could be a little deep because not everybody is ready for that. Let's see. What's my button? That's the one prior. I don't usually use slides, which is one reason I don't know how to use this. I'd be good to go if we froze on the next one because it's an image I want to show you, and it won't do it justice if I try to describe it. All right, well, anyways, envision, here we go. So there's a guy by the name of Jack Butcher who I follow on social media. He has a company he started called Visualize Value. Nothing to do with finance, but he did do some work with Carl Richards and some of his branding. Very basic, simple images that explain complex topics or sayings. And I pull inspiration from other people, so I've been following for a while, and I decided I was going to do my own visualization. And what this represents, I originally created it for my firm's planning process. Starting on the left, ending on the right, breaking up the box, repositioning things for our clients' lives, and ultimately having this beautiful orange circle, which is bright and inspirational, happens to be my company logo. And this image just won't quit leaving me. It stays with me wherever I go. So I think that our profession is still on the left-hand side, and we'll define that here in a little bit, moving towards the right. But I also think a lot of individuals are the left-hand side as well. What I've experienced and learned is that a lot of people, when you sit down with them for the first time in a financial plan, they don't know what they want out of life. They know they want to go buy a house, they want to send their kids to college, they want to retire. Because that's what everybody does, that's what we've been told we do. But that's not really living, that's just going down a path. And I don't know if everybody knows that, hey, you can create your own path if you want. Not everybody's going to do it. I do think there are some people that don't need to have that flexibility, but there we go. But I want to help those and help advisors help those people who need to be busted out of that box do so. So real quick, the agenda, give you a little more intro of who I am. Jared did a great job, so we can go through that pretty quickly. My advisor journey, it kind of feeds into where I am in this conversation, but anytime I'm in front of advisors, I also want to take a moment for the advisors that might be new to the profession to kind of share my journey, because where we end up as advisors is usually not where we started, and it can be frustrating as you're finding your way. And I've found that hearing other people's stories sometimes is valuable. Just to give you the encouragement, if you're at a spot where you don't think is right, don't give up. Don't leave the profession. Learn what you need to learn and keep going. So I'll kind of tell you my path as well. Then we'll talk about the evolution of the profession, and this is unofficial. This is my view of where the profession has gone and where it's going. How we're going to go beyond textbooks and curriculum in our planning. Talk about creating lives, not just living, the main thesis for this presentation. Now, how to implement it. So by that time, I'm going to have some of you, not all of you, excited about this type of planning. So I want to help you figure out how can you do that within your practice. How do you begin to implement it, have the conversations with your clients, and then what's the impact going to be on your business? Because at the end of the day, we all run businesses, and yes, we would love to help people, but we also have to make sure that we are growing our personal financial plans as well. So Jared hit right off. I always like to lead that first and foremost, I'm a husband and a father. And I think that it's important for all of us advisors, this is not part of the topic, but don't forget that you're an individual and that you're a human, and people want to work with people that they like. So as you are building your business, putting yourself out there, make sure that you sprinkle a little bit of you in there and watch what that does for the type of clients that you attract. Don't be just a suit or a dress. Be you and put that out there. So I always start with the individual that I am first. I've come to be a founder. I founded RLS Wealth about 7 years ago, which is my RIA. I don't have a special niche. I launched it with a barbell approach, subscription model for young professionals, traditional AUM for retirees. I didn't want to exclude anybody, so that was kind of how I got started. I co-founded the AGC, Jared hit on that, a private community for financial advisors, which truthfully has been one of the coolest things that I've been a part of building. We've got about 170 advisors across the world that come together to collaborate. So we were just hearing about financial advisor versus financial planner versus coach and all of this. At the end of the day, if we're all trying to help clients move forward, we're going to be better working together regardless of what our title is, and I'm watching that firsthand. We have, again, the members, we have a book coming out that 29 of the members wrote together, being published by Harriman House, which is the same publishing company that did Morgan Housel's Psychology of Money. Some really cool things happening there, and that gives me a lot of hope for the profession as well. And then my creative adventure pursuit stands for passion, relationships, self, and time. And it's all about helping people try to figure out what are their passions in life, use that passion as your guide, and then how do you kind of bring the financial side to it. So taking my advisor role to this kind of more philosophical view on how we might want to live life. I am a financial advisor, crazy to believe, but it'll be 19 years at the end of this year that I've been doing this. Lucked into the profession. Took a little while to find out that I loved it, but you'll see that here in a second. And finally, I'm a creator. I didn't start out that way, but the way that I've grown my business has been through creating content. That could be a whole other conversation, but I have my blog, All About Your Benjamins. I write and record videos and podcasts for Pursuit, and then I have a personal blog that I write about other things that just don't fall into those two camps. I want to have somewhere that I can create and share what I'm thinking, in case somebody cares, that is relevant to that platform. So my journey, the real quick sidebar, went to college, played basketball, Division III. Professional basketball was not a part of my journey. Was going to go to law school. I met my wife, nixed that, had no idea what I was going to do. So I left college not knowing what I was going to do, networked around, found this job called a financial advisor. Sounded really cool. I liked the idea of helping people, flexibility of schedule, all the cool things we get told, and landed at an insurance-based firm. So this is for those that are new or maybe a career changer. I've bounced around. Started insurance-based, realized that wasn't the direction that I was going to go. Went to work at a bank. Absolutely hated having my manager in the room next to me separated by a window. So left there after a year and spent the bulk of my career, it's about half now, at a 403B company. And that is where I found what it was to be a financial advisor. That is where I found my first 30 clients to launch my business, earned my CFP, earned my SEMA designation, and that's where I really fell in love with the profession. I knew I didn't want to stay in that because for me, that wasn't the right environment for me to grow. I didn't want to have managers telling me what to do or what products to use. That just wasn't right for me. So independence is where I was going to go. I got sold the story of a succession plan that didn't work out, which happens so often, and ended up leaving that firm after 2 years and launched my own firm. So I would not want to be anywhere else than owning my own firm, doing what I was doing today, but it took a while to get there, and those stops were all really valuable. Helped me figure out what type of advisor I wanted to be, what did I not want to do, who did I want to work with, and really shaped where I went. So for those of you early in your career or maybe in the middle, if you're not where you're at, don't let that hold you back. Keep on networking, keep on finding things that you like, and eventually the right path will open up. Evolution of an advisor gets me to where we are planning. I had no training. I was thrown to the wolves. I had to figure things out. For whatever reason, the planning part of the process resonated with me. I loved the investment side, but I didn't have a lot of confidence I could bring a lot of value there. But having this financial plan that I could take to my clients that showed them that we were going in the right direction gave me a lot of confidence. It also gave me the confidence that I looked young, that I had something that I could give somebody that they would trust me that I was doing something right, and I knew I was moving in the right direction. So figured things out, started getting more into the investment side of things, financial planning, and then life planning became something that was put on my radar by a friend of mine, Scott Frank, who is not too far from here. And that was kind of the aha moment of here's how I want to plan. I don't want to just do the stereotypical goals. I want to plan for the life that people want to live, because to me, helping somebody live a life that makes them happy is very, very impactful. And I have a mission statement that I've condensed to one word, and that one word is impact. Everything I do, I want to leave impact. Today, I want to impact you and have you think about a new way to do planning. Maybe the impact is reinvigorate somebody who's been doing this for a while, that's just kind of getting tired of a new way to think about things, and take some of my energy and put it into you. But I will always want to make impact. So my unofficial evolution of financial services started back in the stockbroker days, selling stock for commissions. Then it became more of a sales with other options available, mutual funds, annuities, REITs, all those different things. Still more sales driven. And then this is kind of where I came in. It was financial planning as a sales tool. So when I was at the 403B company, I did have a financial planning document. It ran Monte Carlo, but every financial plan, regardless of the age, regardless of the situation, had a spot that solved every problem with an annuity. I always skipped over that section, but nonetheless, it was a planning tool. It was helping me do my job, but it still was a sales tool. It wasn't a true financial plan. And nobody at that company was teaching me how to help somebody actually plan beyond how much to save and how to invest. It wasn't a lot of strategy. It was just the numbers, which was better than nothing. Then it comes to financial planning and advice, and this is where I think we are for the most part. And sidebar, going back to this being a great profession, you may not know that if you look out on social media and you see the amount of bickering that goes on amongst financial advisors about fee structures, models. That's all ridiculous. At the end of the day, I believe that the majority of the people in this world are good people. I believe the majority of you here today are all good financial advisors who have your clients' best interests in mind. And as long as we're forthright, transparent, and doing the right thing for clients, whether you charge a fee, whether you charge commission, as long as the client knows and you're doing the right thing, I don't think it matters. So that's another thing I always like to bring up, because it makes me sick to see my peers arguing, because from the outside looking in, why would anybody trust us? We already have this stigma about us of Wall Street and sales, and we're dishonest, and now you guys are bickering with each other? Like, I'm not going to trust you. That's why I'm going to go to the financial coach, because everybody in the financial coach world is uplifting and optimistic. I want to work with somebody like that, not somebody who's going to argue with their peer. So rant over, but financial planning advice is where we're at. I think we're also trending more and more to the life planning. George Kinder, is anybody here familiar with that name? So George Kinder is the godfather of life planning, is what I call him. Life planning, the way that he's kind of brought it down is just basically aligning your values with your dollars. So taking the savings, the investing, everything you're doing with the numbers, and making sure that it lines up with clients' values. And I this really resonated with me because as I was trying to figure out planning, I really wanted to know what made my clients tick. And that's what this is about. So the whole planning process really is about finding out what's most important to the client, not what does the advisor think is most important to them, what's most important to the client, and aligning their dollars with that. And my life planning 2.0, which will one day have a better name, is not too different. I think truthfully it's the same thing, just coming at it from a different angle. I want to take it one step further. Let's not align the dollars. Let's take the values, let's take the passions in life and put them at the center, and then build the plan around it, like a beautiful circle with 36 lines that might be orange. Like, let's make that the focus, because I've learned from my experience and through working with people over the last 18 years, those that have passion in life and they follow their passions live happier lives. They accomplish more. There's this thing, law of attraction, that I'm obsessed with right now, that I can't convince you that the law of attraction is real, but it's real. And when you experience it, you know it. And when you're following your passion is your guide, it brings good things to you, and magically money solves itself. I can't prove it to you. You just have to trust me. But I see some smiles out there, so I know people know it. We're not doing that with our clients because compliance won't let us. The CFP curriculum is not telling us to do that. It's not in the textbooks. We haven't been taught that. That's what I want us to do. That's what this is all about. Creating lives for people that they're going to have more happiness and less regret. And if we can do that, talk about the impact. You're going to have them have great lives and hit all those milestone goals that they're supposed to have anyways. So it's not that much different than what we're already doing. It's digging deeper. So I need a better name. If anybody has one, share it with me and I'll give you credit. So my question to you is, are your clients happy? And are they really happy? And you know this because as financial advisors, we have conversations with our clients that very few other people have. Maybe a psychologist, maybe an attorney. We're privy to information that sometimes our clients' spouses don't even know. Like, that's how close we are with our clients. So when they come in, you know if they're happy or not. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Client, how are you doing? Complain. Work is horrible. I'm not happy. If that is the consistent theme for your client, then they're not happy. They're not living a good life, and you have the ability potentially to change that through financial planning. But before we get to the numbers, we've got to get to the root of why are you unhappy? What's going on that doesn't make you happy? What are you not doing that you wish you were? Let's talk about that, punch that in the center, and then we can build the financial part of it around it. And that doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean it doesn't come without sacrifice and tough conversations, but if we only have one life and we want to make it the best life ever, isn't it worth at least experimenting it? Like, I don't want any of my clients to look down from heaven on me, mad at me that we didn't explore something they wanted to do. It doesn't mean the answer is always yes. We're not supposed to turn into yes men and yes women, but let's explore it. And here is what could happen if you do these things, and let them decide if that's the right thing. So are your clients happy? And if there are a lot of them that are happy, then you're doing a great job. And if they're not happy, it doesn't mean you're not doing a good job, it just means you could be doing a better job. So there's that drawing that comes back up. So life planning 2.0, creating lives, not just getting through life. It's more than home, college, and retirement. And I think we all actually really know that. Our clients don't know that because that's not what they're reading in Forbes and Money Magazine. It's all those topics. Maybe I've missed them, and I don't do a lot of reading in those magazines, but I don't see a lot of them talking about chasing that dream, taking that personal risk, starting that second business, taking the sabbatical, the things that people really want to do that bring the maximum amount of happiness. Those articles aren't happening, at least from what I'm seeing. So we want to help our clients break out of that box, but we've got to help them realize they're in a box. That the life that they're living, and some of you may be living this life yourself, the life that they are living may not be what they really want. And that there is a better life for them out there, and they should take some time to reflect and figure out what that is. And if you try this with somebody and they just don't want to go outside the box, then let them stay. Because some people, that is the right path for them. I don't believe that the world works in absolutes. This is not the only way to do planning, And not everybody has to be entrepreneurial and taking risks and going around, but I think those that's what their story is supposed to be, and it's not there, we should help them do that. And what for me is exciting is this allows us to get creative. Like, how boring is it to constantly run Monte Carlo, savings projections, numbers? Like, yes, we love numbers for financial advisors, but I mean, I'm 18 years in, and there's some grayer hair out there that have been in here longer than I have. That's got to get boring after time. So to have the ability to go in and be creative with the financial plan and think outside the box with what our recommendations might be, to me, that's what keeps me in the business the next 18 years. If I had to just do numbers, no. I want to find people who want to do exciting things in life, figure out how we go about doing it, and think outside the box, and be confident as an advisor that I can instruct them or guide them to do something the textbooks tells them not to do. And I'm a living example of it. I mean, I didn't do anything crazy, but when I launched my firm, the firm I was at before, I took a big pay decrease to go there. It didn't work out. All that runway I saved up to start my firm, I had to burn through. So I took a $10,000 distribution from my Roth IRA, principal only. I know what I'm doing. But most financial advisors are afraid for compliance reasons to tell a client to do that. But that $10,000 I took out over the last 7 years, I mean, skyrocketed over what any other investment we've done. Even Bitcoin did better than what Bitcoin did over the last 7 years. Not only from a financial standpoint, from a quality of life. I have 3 boys. I don't miss any sports. I get home at 4:30. I'm done. I'm playing with them. I pick things back up in the evening. Best money spent ever. But how many advisors are comfortable doing that? Even though we know that they can do that. There's no penalty to it. That's not what we're taught. So for me, being creative and bringing that to the plan is fun. And it's going to differentiate because it's going to take a long time for our profession to get comfortable being creative with our planning. And ultimately, deep down, I think we're all meant to be creators in one form or another. Maybe you're creating content like I do, but maybe you're creative with your planning with the work you do with your clients. Oh, I hope this works. I'm very, very excited for this. So I think that a lot of people are starting to wake up and realize the life that we're on is not the one that we want. And please work. Oh, it's not going to work. I built this in Google Slides. No, I built it in Google Slides, so I think the transition over to PowerPoint loses this great effect. How many of you have seen the movie Friday Night Lights? So in this line, James Vanderbeek is talking to his dad about how he doesn't want to play football anymore. And the famous line is, "I don't want your life." He says like in this Texas drawl. But the funny thing on this video is the person who built it looped it. So I had this great joke. It was going to say, "I don't want your life," saying our clients don't want that other people's lives anymore. And it's going to say it like 5 or 6 times, and I would cut it out. But that's what that is for. But people are realizing that they don't want to be on the path that they're on. And we can help them get off that path. So I mentioned an awakening. You know, with COVID, we're stuck. We're figuring out we can work from home. I can be more efficient at home and do other things with my family. Maybe I can start a side hustle that is my passion and grow that. People are realizing they have more opportunity, more control over their lives, and they're not willing to give it back up. So now people are starting to look, and this is where planning can come in. So they're more interested in creating the life that they want rather than the life that they're told to have. We still need a plan for those stereotypical goals, but we should be planning to help them do that. And one of my all-time favorite quotes is from Tim Maurer: "Personal finance is more personal than finance." And that's even if you don't agree. Meaning it's not our job as a financial advisor to take our thoughts about life and what our clients should be doing and put our thoughts into their plan. Our job is to give them advice and say, "Hey, that sounds really stupid. You shouldn't do it. Here's all the reasons why, but at the end of the day, this is your life. And if you are willing to understand all of these things over here to do that thing, and you're good with it, then let's roll." Or if you're not comfortable with that, then that's when you find them a new advisor who will. And I mean, if it's really bad, obviously don't let them do it. But if they understand all of the risks and they're in right sound of mind, like they're not crazy, then it's their life. And if you don't let them do that thing, and that thing somehow they find out would have worked, that comes back on you prevented me from doing it. We've seen that with investments. "Oh, I want to buy Tesla." "No, don't buy Tesla," and it runs, and they're mad at you. Imagine if you kept them from living a greater life. How much more anger would they have? So it does. I had another great video here, Dr. Phil. And it's this one where he says it's not about you. So he just says that real obnoxious voice. So even if you don't agree, the financial plan and the direction that it's going, it's not about you. The numbers, the strength of the plan, the creativity, that's about you. But the plan and where they're going, That's the client. You got to let them steer that ship, and then we need to be, this is where I may never get invited back to an FPA presentation, but this is where I might actually disagree with the financial planner term. I think it's more of an advisor. I think that going forward through planning like this at least, we're going to be more of an advisor, a sounding board. This is what I want to do. How should I do it? And we're going to be building the plan. There's still going to be a financial plan, but to me, the planner puts the spotlight on you, and the advisor puts the spotlight more on the client. So semantics, again, we're all in this together, so what do you want to call yourself to me? As long as we're helping our clients, a rising tide lifts all boats. So what kind of impact do you want to have on your clients' lives? If we go back to slide 6, that was my problem earlier. I was pointing to the wrong area. The evolution, there's impact on the client's lives on all stages. It's just as we move further down, I think we have more impact. You have impact on selling somebody a stock. You're helping them grow their money, grow their worth. That's a positive thing. But as we do more for our clients, we have a greater impact. And I think ultimately that's what we want to do. That's what allows us to feel good about what it is we do and get up every day to go ahead and do it. So what's the type of impact that you want to have on your clients? I think this should be our goal. So this is a term that I think came on my radar maybe the last couple years. It's a Japanese phrase, ikigai, which breaks down to life worth, aka a reason for being, or we might say purpose. And I love this because this is where I'm trying to get. So in the center of these circles is the intersection of what you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. And then the circles move further in. It's your passion, your mission, profession, vocation. That word passion just can't leave me. And then all of those put together becomes ikigai. I can't promise you that we can help everybody find their ikigai. Maybe they're not able to. But if we can help some of our clients find this and then build the plan to allow them to live that, like that's next level. That is helping people live a life that they didn't know was possible, reach a level of happiness that they didn't think they'd ever reach. And we have the ability to do that through the conversations we have. You'll see here, we got to start asking better questions. We got to become better listeners, and we hear that all the time. But to me, this gives me more reason to listen. And we've got to be able to let the client figure these things out and not be so quick to rush. So to me, this is the goal. This is my goal, is to help as many of my clients as possible find this intersection, or find as many of those as possible. So bring creativity to the plan. We talked about it a little bit, but first off, do no harm. Being creative doesn't mean be reckless and start making all these crazy recommendations that are going to hurt the client, because at the end of the day, our job is to help them do well. But don't be so confined by what you learned in a textbook 15, 20 years ago. We still need to give guidance and advice. Sounding board. Jack Butcher, I actually had him on my podcast. One of the most creative guys. He would be an ideal client for me. Super creative, made a ton of money in NFTs because he knows what he's doing, selling them, trading, and buying them. And he's on my podcast. He said, I don't want somebody to tell me, don't go buy that Bored Ape. I want somebody to tell me how's the best way to do it, and then help me with the taxes after I make my money, which is exactly what he did. To me, that really stuck out in that conversation. He wanted somebody to act as a sounding board with a little bit more guidance. Don't tell me, no, that's stupid, because you don't know what Jack Butcher knows about the space. So if he's adamant on it, and you go through all the numbers, and you figure out the way to do it, and he understands the risks to it, then I think we got to let him do it. It's his life, not our life. And not everybody's going to be comfortable with that, and that's perfectly fine. Again, no absolutes. If that's not your style, don't do it. You've got to be doing it the way that you believe in the most, because that's when you can do your best work. Get comfortable with non-traditional recommendations. I put a couple on the bottom. You know, at least when I was growing up the profession, it was get the 401k match, go max out your Roth IRA, now you throw in the HSA, go back and fund the 401k, and then do a taxable. Well, what if your client's ikigai means at 40, which is where I'm at, I don't want to work as hard. I've got my business at a good standpoint. I don't want to take on new clients. I want to pursue this passion project called Pursuit, and I have time with my family. I don't need to grow right now. So I need to have money accessible to me to do these ventures that I might want to do in a taxable account or savings account. So I'm not going to fund my simple IRA last year so I have more disposable income. I don't think that very many of you are uncomfortable doing that, but to tell somebody to just do the match and not do a Roth and fund a taxable account goes against the norms of what we read. Again, if we're building lives for that individual, we need to go to what the recommendations are for that individual's life, not what we're told by the profession. Education is going to be important, not just on what we're doing, but really important to educate them on the risks, the trade-offs. To accomplish this life that you want, we have to make these changes. Here's what it could mean. Are you aware of that? Are you okay with that? From a compliance standpoint, maybe you want to up your documentation and say, hey, this is a little bit risky. This is outside the box. I want to make sure that you're not going to come back and sue me if it doesn't work, and we're going to note that we talked about this. I support you fully, and I think you're going to succeed, but I'm a business owner. I got to protect myself as well. So maybe you up the documentation. I already covered those events. So implement it within your practice. The good news is, if you're here today, I don't think you have to do a whole lot different. That sounded horrible. Let me go back. Given that you're here today, I don't think you have to do a lot different from what you're already doing. The process that you're doing, if you're doing financial planning, is 99% of the way there. It's just a couple new steps and a little bit deeper dive on the questions that you ask. So before we get to the process, I think you should start with yourself. Are you living the life that you want? Is your business the financial planning profession, the financial planning business that you want? Are you working with your ideal clients? If not, start doing this yourself. Rebuild your financial plan. See what it's like. Create a happier life. Lead by example. Clients may need a little help. Remember, we're not taught this in school, that you can go, I mean, they say you can dream big and follow your dreams, but that's not what we're reinforced. Play it safe. Follow the path. Don't veer too far off. You might get hurt. It's safe to have a salary and benefits. I would argue it might be safer to bet on yourself. They're not ready for it yet because no one's telling them that they can do it. You could be the first person to introduce this to them. Now, I have a couple book recommendations. One of them is The Alchemist. It's Kobe Bryant's favorite book, which is why I read it. And I read it in 2 days, and I'm going to read it every year. It's basically a story of a personal journey, finding an ikigai, just a different term. But start to educate them on, think big. What do you really want out of life? Because they're going to need your assistance, and they're going to thank you for it. Even if they don't go that far, they're going to be thankful that you had them think about it so that at least they know. Become more intentional with the planning process. Not just the plan that you're doing, but the process you take them through, the questions, the follow-up, the messaging, the language that you use. Be intentional with the things you're doing to start directing them in this direction of, hey, we're really going to build the life that you want if that's not the path that you're on. And if that's the path that you're on, we're going to keep you there until you tell me, hey, I got this new thing I want to do. Let's explore that. I said ask better questions and listen. Help clients dig deeper. Your favorite question should be why. When do you want to retire? Why? Okay, well, why? And if you ask why a handful of times, you realize the reason they gave you the first time was just surface level. There's a deeper why that started back when they were kids. That's why they think they need to be on the path they're on. So it's going to be a little bit of therapy in these sessions to get there, but that's going to allow you to do your job better, build a better plan. Now you know the why. Now you can pull that why back up when they start to deviate off the plan. You hit them on that deep memory that has all the emotion to it that pulls them right back onto the path they want to be on to reach that goal. Give a crap. Like, want to see your clients succeed, want to see them happy, and I think you all do. But we know there's some advisors out there who aren't, so if one of them happens to be in there, just a reminder to care about your clients. The reason I still have RLS Wealth is because I love my clients. My other ventures actually excite me more than growing my business, which is why I'm not growing the advisory side anymore. But I love my clients too much. I've been working with them for 12 years plus. They've held my kids as babies. They've knitted them blankets. I care about their lives. I'm the second person they call when a spouse dies. I'm not turning my back on that, but they know that I care. So make sure they know that you care. Make sure they know you care about their happiness and their plan and also their money as well. Accountability beyond savings and insurance and estate planning. We got to make sure those things get set up. I know I haven't touched on any of that today. Those are all really important in the plan, but you already know all of that. I'm talking about accountability of if somebody is going to start a business or they're going to start creating something or whatever it is they're going to do, be that accountability. Hey, you said you were going to open up that LLC. Did you do it yet? Well, no. Be that accountability. That shows you care. So you're going to make sure that they're going to follow through on this goal that they have so that they don't miss an opportunity to live the life that they want. And then celebrate with them. When they hit a milestone, celebrate. I had a client that was on the news for her business. It had nothing to do with her ikigai, but I sent her an email hyping it up. I was so excited to see her on news. I had no idea it was going to be there. I turned it on one day. Actually, I saw it on Twitter, the replay. So I sent it over to her and celebrated with her. Celebrate with them. Like, they're not clients. These people are more important to us than clients. So how do we change the business model or your relationship model? Not a lot. This is kind of the process I would go through. So you can change it however you want. But get to know meeting, make sure it's a good fit. This is where I'll plug. Creating content is great. And if you're going to do this type of planning and have these types of conversations, you can talk about this publicly. And those get to know meetings become a higher success rate because the people coming in to work with you already know they want to work with you. It's you deciding, are they a good fit for the way you work? Are they ready to go through this process and really live their best life? Or they just think I'm a cool advisor to work with? The get to know meetings get a lot easier when you put yourself out there and let them know what to expect, who you are, and all those things. I can come back and talk about it another time, Jared, if you want. Send out pre-planning checklist. I'll send out, I have 3 questions that I've taken from Kinder. So the life planning process has 3 main questions. I basically ripped them off and made them my own. So I give him credit all the time, but I just tailor them to my language and how I would ask them. We'll go through here in a second. But I give these to the clients ahead of time. And I'll tell you, they all center around mortality. I used to think, well, let me ask them in person and get the most authentic, honest answer. But then I realized people aren't thinking about this yet. They don't know. So all I'm going to get is a blank stare and an and I don't know, and a superficial answer. So let me give them time to think about these deep questions so they can come ready to talk about it. And those answers, that's sending me down the path of where we need to go, and that's where I'm asking questions and diving deeper on. So I take it away, the fact-finding. I think this is a vision alignment meeting. Let me get on your wavelength. Let's get on the same frequency. Let me know where you want to go. Paint this picture of your life, and let me see that vision. 90% of it's conversation, 10% is gathering numbers, and you take that back and do your thing. Go back to the lab, do all the crunching the numbers, go back. Do these implementations of the foundations. So this is assuming you're getting somebody brand new, making sure they have the proper savings, insurance, estate planning. Like, get all of those out of the way. Get the foundational things done, and tell them we have to do these things first before we get to go to the life-changing stuff. Because I can't have you going for this great life if your family's not protected and God forbid something happens to you. Or you can't make money while you're doing this. We got to get these things done, and then now we get to go. So get those things done. Then come back, the life planning meeting. This is where we take the numbers, put it around the lifestyle, and start to build that and begin to implement that. So everything major is done. Now we get to build the lifestyle. And then it's just a regular accountability, schedule check-in, reviewings. So it's not that different from what you're already doing, maybe one more deeper intensive meeting. So real quick, the questions we send. The first one is, if you wake up tomorrow morning and you have more money than you need to take care of yourself, what are you going to do? What's your ideal day look like? What are you doing? How is that different from today? Let's talk about it. Second one, you go to the doctor, you have a terminal illness, you won't feel any pain or be sick, and you don't know how long you're going to live. Could be tomorrow, could be 5 years. What are you doing? How's your life change? Okay? And then the final one, and this is the one that I think is the most telling. Today's your final day. And it's not what would you do in your final day. It's who did you not become? What did you not get to do? What do you regret? And those are the things that tell you what's most important to that individual, if they're being honest. And those are the things you begin to try to plan for. Oh, I regret not being at my kids' games. Great. How do we fix that? Well, my work won't let me. Well, if it's that important that that's one of the things you would regret if you died, then what can we do about your employment to change that? And this can go, big. This could be they change jobs, they change homes. Like, if they're really about this lifestyle, there could be drastic changes. Or maybe it's not that important, and once they see what they have to sacrifice, they don't want to do it. And again, it's not our decision to make for them. We just need to press them on it. So what's the impact on your business? Happier clients, deeper relationships. You're going to get more referrals because now they're bragging about how great their life is. I have a real life story I'll tell you at the very end that I didn't get referrals out of it, which is perfectly fine, but she actually helped 2 of her friends retire earlier too. Greater impact, which for me is what I'm about, and I think we're all about making impact for our clients. More fulfillment. You're getting more fulfillment in the job you're doing because you know you're making a difference. That, yes, helping with numbers is important. It is an impact, but this is bigger, I think. Changes the reputation of our profession. Again, we get rid of the bickering, and now we're known for the profession that helps people live their lives, the lives that they truly want to live, and we do it in a supportive and encouraging way. Nobody is not going to want to work with us. We'll have too many clients coming to us because our our reputation as a profession is so great, and nobody else can do this. If you're worried about technology replacing you, in my lifetime, AI will never be smart enough to get down to the root of why somebody feels the way they feel about money. They're not going to be able to ask those questions. This technology proofs your business if you're able to get this level of planning in these conversations. And all this is going to be good for your bottom line. Happier clients are going to stay with you, you get referrals, and business grows. And you're doing good with it. So the real quick final story is, this is going to be in the book from the AGC, My Little Story. This is actually my junior year high school teacher, and she's given me the okay to share the story. So long story short, she was teaching. Her goal was 65. We had been going down the path, because I've only implemented this over the last maybe 4 or 5 years. So don't mistake this. I've been doing this my whole career. This is relatively new in my practice, but it's been very meaningful. 65 was her age, because that's what she thought she had to do, Medicare, all the reasons. And I could tell that she was burned out, and I could tell that she wasn't happy. And this was the greatest teacher I ever had. She took a lot of pride in the work that she did. She helped kids with their college admissions essays, and that was her pride. And she actually had a side business doing it. I could tell she was burned out. We're running the numbers. I called her back a couple days later, and I said, look, Fish, I know you're not happy, and I know you want to go down pursuing this path of helping people with the college admissions and doing more of that. She had the website and everything. I said, I just want you to know that you don't have to go back to school next year. I've run the numbers. I've crunched everything. I've run what ifs. I've stress tested it. You're able to stay out of the school if you're willing to use your inheritance from your mom as your money now. And that was the caveat. Mom had passed away. She inherited money. She wasn't ready to use it, and I knew that. But I could tell she was so unhappy that that might have been the tipping point. She was ready to go, and she did. Retired, sold her home in Indy, moved out to Arizona where she always wanted to be with friends, and she's living her best life. 2 of her friends saw how happy she was. They went and met with their financial advisors, asked all these questions, ran these other scenarios because they saw Fish doing that, and they retired as well. So not only did I have the impact on my client, indirectly the impact spread to her friends who are now living better lives. And I don't know about their financial situation, but I know that she is in good shape, and we didn't do anything to jeopardize her future. And the coolest comment I've ever gotten in my career is on the way out, she hugged me and said, thank you for giving me 10 years back of my life. Like, I get emotional. Like, thank you for giving me 10 years back of my life. All because I knew my client, I read her, I knew what she really wanted to do, and I had the courage to go test the financial plan and think outside the box and draw from her taxable account so she could fund this while she builds this other business, take some money out to make the move because I knew she'd be happier, and magically all the money stuff is working out. This is where I would love to see our profession go. I think it's heading that way, and I would love to speed it up if I can. So that's the story I love to end on. Books to recommend. The Alchemist is a great one. So I give out books to new clients. We have a little frame with a little saying in it, and then I have a handful of books. The Alchemist is one. 10% Happier is another one. The Family Boardroom, the Family Board Meeting is another book. I give that all to young families, really small. It's about maximizing the time we have with our kids. We have 18 summers. So I give these books that go back to the intentionality of my practice. I want my clients thinking about building the best life possible, so I'm giving them books from the day one that's going to set that tone. And having conversations about law of attraction, all these things as well as I get further into that myself. So that is all I had, and I only have a couple minutes. So I just see if there's any questions or follow-up on it. Yes?
Okay, here's an idea for your life planning 2.0.
Yes.
You can do real life planning,
Uh-huh.
because you're getting into the real needs and interests and wants of your clients.
Yep.
Full life planning,
Okay.
be you giving them a full life.
I'm going to write them both down and sit with them. I got to let things like marinate so they go. The one I had, I really wanted to because I'm big on creativity, was creative financial planning, but I didn't want to give Peter Blue any more business because creative planning is already big enough. They don't need my help. So creative planning is actually out for that single reason. Yes? The Alchemist, and then 10% Happier. Yep. And if you really want to start to blow your client's mind, there's a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Like, that starts to get into quantum physics and all. Like, that's where I'm at now, and that's where Kendrick Lamar is. And like, your clients might think you're crazy, but that is, if you have clients that might be interested in it, that's a great book as well. Yes. I can hear you. Right.
What about the clients? What about the clients that want to dive right into your 3-month projection on Apple, or is this annuity best for me? Like they just want product, they just want investments.
They're not.
And
they're
I
not
know, and I know that you're not focused on taking on new clients, or in the past, like are you
Yep.
just not taking them on? Are you trying to change them?
Those clients wouldn't be coming to me because what they see from me on my podcast and in my blog and on my social media to market myself isn't talking about that. I'm just talking about the planning process, the importance of the plan, actually talking about how I don't think those things matter as much as all the things we can control. So I would say they're not coming to me, but if they came to me and I decided I want to work with them because they're great people or maybe it's a referral from a real good client, I would just tell them, hey, we're going to get there. We got to do these things first. So that I would use that as motivation to do what I want them to do first and then bring that in. And I would bring it in. And I have clients who have, Apple or Tesla. Like I don't tell them no. Again, we talk about it. I don't want to hold them back from the plan they think is best. But I also don't want them to blow themselves up. So that's how I would handle it. Yes? I have the ability within my practice to do that. So the question was, do I only do part of my client's plan or do I do it all? For all of my clients, I do all of the plan. So I'm a fee-only advisor, and I don't say that from a standpoint of I think that's the best. But so the insurance I outsource, estate planning I outsource. I have people in town that I refer to. But I'm looking at all of those things because I want to make sure that the recommendations I'm making for the whole plan encompass those things. I don't want to have this great plan for this awesome life and not have a proper estate plan in place or have the proper insurance. So that's a part of kind of the foundation. We get those things out of the way really quick, so then we can move on to the bigger things. So I wouldn't want to take on anybody. I don't necessarily have to manage the investments. I have my subscription model. There's an additional AUM fee to that, so I charge between $150 or $300 a month, depending on if it's single or a couple, and then 35 basis points for AUM. So if you want to do your own investments, great. We'll do the subscription planning. You do your investment management. I'll look at it, take a look at it, but you don't have to pay the AUM fee. So, but most of my clients come to me or have come to me because they don't want to mess with it or they don't feel confident in it. But I would say if you like focusing on certain areas, I think you build your practice to what your strengths are, and you just communicate that. If you're really good at one part of the financial plan and the other areas aren't your strengths, then just communicate that, because there are going to be people who only want one part. There's an advisor that is in Texas that only does a flat fee plan. He goes through everything and does nothing else, and people want that. So I would say if you only want to focus on one area, make that your expertise, put that out there, and then let's say you only wanted to focus on the insurance side because that was where you came from, you're really good at it, and let advisors out there who don't do it. The firm I refer to are two guys that left Northwestern Mutual. Their firm only works with fee-only advisors to place their insurance. They're basically order takers, and they're crushing it. One guy's traveling the world right now. And advisors just send them this because we can't sell it, but we know our clients need it, and we don't want to send them off to find it on their own because they might get something that we don't want them to have. So I sent Peter and Brock, hey, we need $1 million in a 20-year term policy. They take care of it, keep me in the loop. My clients get what they need. They're protected, and I don't have to worry about it, and then it's on to the next thing in the plan.
Any other questions? Justin, thank you.
All right.
That was incredible. Are you going to be here?
Yeah, I'm hanging. Yeah, I don't leave till tomorrow morning, so I'm
You're going to
hanging.
be here all night. You're going drinking with us and everything?
I'm meeting a couple of the AGC guys around 4, and then I have a dinner date with a buddy at 7. So, but I'll be here for the rest of the afternoon.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you,
you.
man. I'm gonna